a brief statement. At this time, I'm going to ask you, after she is done, to hold questions. Mr. Anderson and I will answer any questions that you may have. Ms. Winkler.
Okay, I'd just like to say that Lanai was a beautiful person. She was only 15, but she was my baby. She was loving and caring. She was the type of person to give her friends the clothes off of her back. Whenever she was making herself something to eat, I knew she was making food for someone else. Sometimes she would pretend she was hungry so she could sneak food to her friends who didn't have what she had. On the day of her death, she was just 3 weeks away from her 16th birthday. She was working on getting her license. She was looking forward to her independence. My daughter was not perfect. What 15-year-old is? Lanai was my oldest child and a great big sister to her 6-year-old brother. She should not be remembered as a thief because that's not who she was. If everyone walked around with their mistakes stamped on them, I'm sure you would see far worse things. Today I'm sad because I lost my child, but I'm even more upset about how this story has been twisted. The one time she was arrested, those charges were dropped. Yet on the day of her death, the sheriff's office released her mugshot. Because of that, Lanai wanted to help people in her situation. She wanted to be a lawyer. I only want the truth. I need answers and I need closure. The last time I hugged my daughter, I did not know it would be the last time I would see her alive. As I prepare to bury my child, I ask that you keep us in prayer, and my heart also goes out to the families of Dominique Battle and Ashanti Butler. None of these kids deserve to die.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Do you guys have any brief questions? We're going to take about 3 to 5 questions.
What were some of the records that you requested from St. Pete PD and the Sheriff's Office, and how were they denied?
We requested radio transmissions, any videos that were in the cars. We requested CAD, which is the different calls that may go through. We've requested anything that was associated with this case, whether it's from the alleged stolen vehicle case or actually the recovery of the car. And essentially, we were kind of stonewalled. We were given different answers. And I don't know if you guys are aware, even if there's an ongoing investigation, the family has a right to get the police report. And Ms. Winkler has been denied the police report, saying it's still an ongoing investigation. But there's actually law that says that even if it's an ongoing, the family is entitled to that information, and it just simply wasn't provided. At one point, we were told, well, we don't have it, and then we were told, well, we do have it. So once again, both can't be true. Either you have it or you don't. So we're simply asking, requesting for that to be made available to us. Most importantly, available to Ms. Winkler, as she is Lanai's mother, and she's entitled and has every right to have that information.
What was Lanai doing in the car at 3, 4 in the morning with 2 known car thieves that did have an extensive criminal record? And did she try and stop it during the hours they were driving around?
That's a fair question, and honestly, we don't know the exact answer to that at this moment. That's why this is an ongoing investigation. That's why I encourage all of you as journalists, and a lot of you I know personally, a lot of you I recognize, and I respect the work that you do, and I encourage all of you to do your own investigation and follow up on this. The truth of the matter is, this investigation is in its infancy. Our position is, even at this point, we've done much more investigation than we know that the Sheriff's Office has done, at least based on reports from journalists such as yourselves, based on the press release that the Sheriff's Office did. But to reiterate, it's ongoing, and I encourage you to look into that, as we will be.
What are the instances? Sorry,
go ahead.
You're talking about discrepancies. What do you suspect really happened then?
At this point, we're not really prepared to give our theory on what happened because we don't want to speculate as to anything. We do have a working theory, but we're not prepared to talk about that right now. But I invite the Sheriff's Office and the St. Petersburg Police Department to help us in this investigation. Let's do this together. We really want to find the answers about actually what happened. I invite them to contact us. We have been in contact with the detectives on the case, so we'll let you know that one of the detectives did call me back. We're still playing a little bit of phone tag, but I invite them to call me because ultimately, we just want answers for the family.
What about the news conference with the sheriff upset the family and you the most?
I mean, so we have a board with a statement from the sheriff, and he essentially says that he empathizes with the family, and he's thinking about they're probably thinking what they could have or should have done to prevent their child from dying. And what I think and speaking with Ms. Winkler, and we had a long conversation, what I'll just say infuriated me as just on a human level is that you have children that have died, and then the very thing that you do is you take their mugshots. You didn't come to her and ask her for a picture of Lanaya. You didn't go to Dominique Battle's family and ask for a picture of Dominique. You didn't go to Ashanti's family and ask for a picture of Ashanti. You took mugshots, you posted them, you released them, you disseminated them to the public. And it means all I could say but to craft your narrative into slander these young women. And that is what is infuriating, because it was, as Mr. Anderson said, a rush to judgment. It was just, here's our narrative, this is what we need to give to the public. So the public is basing their opinions off of what law enforcement has fed them.
And if I may interject, I actually have the direct quote Ms. Whitfield's talking about. This is reportedly a direct quote from the sheriff that I got from a report. Quote, "I understand the pain and agony that the families are going through, and I empathize with their situation. They're grasping at straws to try to reconcile this and figure this out. Maybe even going through some self-reflection on what they could have done or should have done to keep their 15-year-old daughter from being out at 4 a.m. and stealing cars and engaging in crime." And it's our belief that was directed specifically at Ms. Winkler, whose daughter, again, has no criminal record. And at the point that the sheriff issued that statement, what investigation had been done?
Can you talk at all about the inconsistencies you say you found at the scene at the cemetery? Is that something you can talk about right now?
At this point, we actually would like to hold some of that as well, because it's still an ongoing investigation and we're still going out to the scene. But I invite you to walk the scene, because I promise you, if you walk the scene, you will see exactly what we have seen, and you will come to understand exactly what our position. Juxtapose the scene against the pictures of the vehicle and the damage to the vehicle. You'll begin to piece together what those inconsistencies are. At this point, I think that's all we have for questions. We just thank y'all for coming. Winkler.
The first name.
Natasha.
And will you spell that?
Oh, Will Anderson.
Natasha.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.